Hello, I'm Ray Smith, and this is Hidden History Stories from the Secret City. My co host Keith McDaniel is not with me, but I'm going to share a presentation that I've made to several groups around town about the future of Oak Ridge. So let's see if we can get started with it here, and I'll share my screen first. Now, this is the first slide that talks about Chris Wright, the DOE Secretary of Energy, and what he had to say when he came to Oak Ridge. Right soon after he was appointed, he came to Oak Ridge and he said, "We're at the start of Manhattan Project 2. It's critical, just like Manhattan Project 1, that the United States win this race." He said when he was here, and he was talking about providing electricity primarily for data centers and for the increased demand that's going to be anticipated on the electrical system as we go forward. Now, let me show you the area that I'm talking about. This is a map of Oak Ridge, and you see over on the right, you see the Type 1 energy, which is at the Bull Run steam plant. Now, that is a fusion energy research. And then you move over to the left and you see Centrus is located up there. As I think of it, it's in the old Boeing building, but you know where it is. And Centrus is building centrifuges, and they're taking them up to Portsmouth and putting them in the system up there. But they're expanding their operation significantly in Oak Ridge. Moving on across to the west, you find Orano, which is located at the intersection of Highway 95 and 58. It's on the south side of the Oak Ridge Turnpike. And then up in the Horizon Center, you've got TRISO-X. Now, Orano is going to be enriching uranium using centrifuges. And TRISO-X is in the Horizon Center along with BWXT. And TRISO-X will be creating a new kind of fuel for modular reactors. And we'll learn about that as we go through the presentation. And then over at the Heritage Center of the East Tennessee Technology Park, you've got Oklo, which will be processing spent nuclear fuel into fuel that can be used in these new reactors. You've got Kairos Power that's building a small modular reactor, and we'll talk about the details of that when we get to it. They are in an agreement with Google and with TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, to actually provide power to the grid. Then you've got nano nuclear and you've got standard nuclear, all located there in the Heritage Center. And then down in the bend in the river, you've got TVA's Clinch River nuclear site, where they're going to be building small modular reactors as well. Now, this is another way to look at it that kind of helps you locate where these facilities are. You see Orano is located there in the intersection south and east corner of the intersection of 95 and 58 or Oak Ridge Turnpike. And then you see the Horizon Center, and that's where BWXT is located, and TRISO-X is located there. Then over at the Heritage Center, you'll notice Kairos Power is there, Standard Nuclear, Oklo, and then down in Tennessee Valley Authority is located down in the bend at the old uh, breeder reactor site that's now called the TVA's Clinch River nuclear site. So that gives you a little better perspective of it. And it also points out where the Manhattan Project National Historical Park is with the William J. Wilcox Jr. K-25 Interpretive Center. And the footprint, of course, is a part of the park, footprint of the K-25 building. And then the Black Oak Ridge Conservation Easement. It's the green area that you see there that's being preserved and protected. So let's talk about Kairos Power. Small modular nuclear reactor being built there, and that's an artist rendering of what that site is anticipated to look like. And this is the rendering of the Hermes low power demonstration reactor facility. That's the one that's going to be providing power to the Tennessee Valley Authority grid. And this is a view, if you're in the Wilcox Interpretive Center and looking out over the footprint of the K-25 building, which is a part of the Manhattan Project National Historical Park, as you're up in that overlook, looking out to the west and north a little bit, you can actually see Kairos Power and the structures that they're building located on what was the old K-33 site. And this is what their construction looks like for the Hermes reactor that they're building. This is an early photo when they were just beginning the construction. Now let's see if we can hear a little bit about this Kairos Power.
Powerful partnership, and it's happening right here in our backyard. Kairos Power, the Tennessee Valley Authority, and Google are teaming up to meet America's growing energy needs. It's a first of its kind agreement between a U.S. utility and a nuclear power company. The TVA will buy up to 50 megawatts of electricity from Kairos Power's upcoming Hermes 2 plant in Oak Ridge. The electricity from the advanced nuclear reactor will power Google data centers in Tennessee and Alabama. Hermes 2 will be Kairos' second test reactor in Tennessee, but the first one to actually produce power. For Kairos, this isn't just a milestone, it's a major step forward.
It's the first 50 megawatts of the 500 megawatts total as part of our master plant development agreement with Google. Getting that first unit identified, the Hermes 2 plant, that's a really big deal for Kairos. It allows us to leverage both the construction work we're doing here for Hermes 1 and also leverage that for Hermes 2.
Hermes 2 is expected to begin operating in 2030. Meanwhile, Kairos Power is also teaming up with BWXT to explore new ways to optimize the commercial production of TRISO fuel for Hermes 2 and future advanced reactors.
Now, that gives you an insight into what Kairos Power is doing. Now, let's take a look at TRISO-X, and again, located in the Horizon Center, and this is what they anticipate their facility to look like.
New tonight, with the Trump administration's push for more American-made nuclear reactors, Oak Ridge has seen a ton of new industry, but not all businesses are building reactors. Anderson County reporter Emily Crabtree spoke with one company that's fueling the nuclear energy. It's no secret the nuclear industry is growing in Oak Ridge, but with so many nuclear reactors popping up, there has to be some way to fuel them, which is why TRISO-X is creating the first in the nation fuel fabrication facility.
We're making great progress here in Oak Ridge on land that was previously part of the DOE reservation.
Nuclear company TRISO-X is one of many companies making their mark on the K-25 heritage site.
We're investing over $900 million in providing this fuel production capability here in East Tennessee, and it'll generate over 500 jobs with our first facility alone. We're already looking at building a second facility at the same location here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which will have twice the capacity and have over 1,000 jobs that are brought with that second facility.
Experts say this is a huge step closer to putting the U.S. back on top of the nuclear industry.
East Tennessee is where we're going to realize this and lead the country and then eventually the world in really demonstrating what we can do. And X Energy and TRISO-X are a key part of that landscape.
TRISO-X is also working with a newer form of fuel.
But it's far more efficient and it's far safer of a fuel system. That's allowed for our nuclear reactor design to be a much simpler design with passive safety systems, allowing for modular construction and quicker deployment out into the field.
And they're getting support from others.
Everybody in the industry is very much rooting for X Energy as well as all of the advanced nuclear companies, and just looking for opportunities to accelerate that timescale while not cutting any corners in terms of safety.
For now, the facility will fuel the nation's first commercial scale small modular reactor out of Seadrift, Texas. But the company says they're very excited for what the future holds. Now, I'll send things back to you. TRISO-X also says they have awarded a $48 million contract to Clark Construction to build that first facility. They say construction will hopefully begin sometime next month.
So that's TRISO-X out in the Horizon Center. So now let's look at Orano.
The U.S. is watching what's happening right here in Tennessee, right here in Oak Ridge. We have about $15 billion worth of CapEx projects in the queue, over 2,000 jobs. And these are companies that we're talking to right now. It was already happening because of Oak Ridge, but because of Orano's decision to come here, that's really opened up a lot of conversations.
The nuclear renaissance has begun. America is going to lead in that renaissance. There is no conversation in this country that has to do with energy independence, national security, energy dominance that doesn't include nuclear energy.
America needs more and new nuclear power. The world needs more and new nuclear power. New nuclear power needs Tennessee and Project Ike in Oak Ridge. Our team members of Orano in this new office are developing the next generation enrichment facility that will provide significant quantity of enriched uranium to fuel not just reactors, but the future, powering new technologies that will define the next century.
Because of what we have with Oak Ridge and with TVA, there is no excuse for us not to lead the way and to really chart that path as how we move forward with SMRs, how we move forward with micro reactors.
We are so very proud that Tennessee continues to play a central role in shaping the future of domestic nuclear energy.
This is our opportunity to step up and win for new nuclear, to win for our nation. But it's an opportunity. We need to hit a home run. And I know with the team here today, we will get it done.
Very exciting day for Tennessee. I'm here with the CEO of Orano, who has made an announcement today that they would be making a multi-billion-dollar investment in a project in our state, enriched uranium, which is a key component, obviously, to the nuclear industry, which is growing in our state. We have made investments in the Nuclear Fund, in the Nuclear Advisory Council, all in an effort to attract major industry in the nuclear industry, and today that's happened. So we're very grateful for this announcement today. It's exciting for the people of Tennessee.
what makes this site, it's what I said during my speech. There are so many elements, but first, the executive order for government promoting nuclear energy was very important for us. The education program that this region has, this is remarkable. I've never seen something like this in other areas of the country, I can tell you. And also, so I mean, you have UT close by, you have one state community college, Tennessee Tech, and this training program is not only training, so education, and we need more than 300 jobs, I mean, and very skilled jobs. And we really need a very strong state, and a very strong county, and a very strong region that can provide this kind of work for us. So for us, it was very big, and finally, I mentioned it, but the role of TV has been crucial.
Whether it's just quality of life, access to workforce, education, great educational partners that have been mentioned. Obviously, Oak Ridge is very specific to nuclear for all the reasons we know, the history here, and I think they know, this community knows what that means. And really, at the end of the day, it's just great local partnerships at the local level with counties and cities that bring us back every time.
So just recently, within the last week, there was a transfer of the land that Orano is going to use for their facility, and that was transferred down at the signing took place at the Wilcox Interpretive Center, and this is some comments that were made there by the CEO.
Good afternoon, everyone. And thanks so much for your incredible hospitality and welcome. It's always a pleasure for me to be here. Just to give you a small story, I just came back from Houston. Don't tell me how I went through TSA. It was a nightmare, but I wanted to miss my plane to be here on time for this very important moment. But before, in Houston, I met with the state of Louisiana, and they asked me, why did you pick up Oak Ridge? Why did you pick up Tennessee? Why didn't you talk to us? And I said, because you cannot believe it. You have clearly a vision embedded by, of course, Governor Lee, the support from the incredible delegation from Tennessee, Congressman Flashman, Senator Hagerty, Senator Blackburn, and of course the alignment with the local community and the mayors, Mayor Bush, Mayor Frank, and of course Executive County Creswell and Senator Yager. You have been very fantastic because you had the same vision to develop and to make Tennessee the place to be for nuclear. And I can tell you that the state of Louisiana said, what can you do in our state? I said, I'm sorry, but we're already married. And today we did the marriage with Tennessee and with the city of Oak Ridge, but I said, I'm sorry, we're already married. But I don't know if you remember, but it all started, in fact, 2 years ago exactly. I came for the first time of my life in Oak Ridge. And I can see some, it's a very familiar faces. I see just this was the first one to welcome me with the TNECB, I see President Wagner, over there. Mac back here, of course, everybody can see you. Mac, you know you've been fantastic. Ashley and many others, and I would still remember that day because at that time, I was looking for the perfect site to locate Project I. And after our first meetings, after the tour of SSP2, and I'm glad that you explained what is SSP2 because I won't be able to say it again. But after that day, I realized that not only have I found the perfect site, but the perfect community. And since that day, we have all worked together to make Project I a reality. Because Project I is not a concept. Project I is not a first of a kind. Project I is a $5 billion investment in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and this is actually our 5th enrichment project in the world. And will benefit from all the lessons learned and the operating experience of our prior experience in designing, constructing, and operating enrichment facilities. Our centrifuge technology has been proven for decades and is considered, even by the Chinese and the Russians, the most efficient in the world. And we will build Project I here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. However, as a company, we won't be successful without your support. And I'm extremely grateful to all of you for your warm welcome and your partnership. As you said, where's Dave? I lost Dave. But, oh, Dave, you're here. As you said, it's all about mutual commitments, partnership, and transparency. And that's why I would like to thank you, Mayor Couch, Executive County, Creswell, Senator Yeager, Mayor Frank, and of course Eric, for your partnerships and your transparency. And we'll continue to work together with the same level of transparency and the same spirit of cooperation, because we have the same objective: restore America's nuclear fuel supply chain and positively contribute to the development of the local communities of the city of Oak Ridge, Brown County, and Anderson County, and of course the state of Tennessee. And Eric, I would like to applaud you for the amazing successes that Yuko and your team have achieved. Thanks to you, Oak Ridge has become a reference in the nation in terms of safety, quality, and delivery. Not only you're ensuring the protection of the public health and the environment, but you're also enabling the reuse of much needed land. And that's why we need to work with you. And that's why we're honored to partner with the city of Oak Ridge, with Brown and Anderson counties, with DOE and UCOR, to transform SSP2 into the most advanced nuclear enrichment facility in the United States and in the world. With your outstanding efforts, Oak Ridge has become the new hub of a nuclear renaissance, not only in the United States, but for the entire world. Oak Ridge was the first place where enriched uranium was produced when the world needed it the most. Oak Ridge will be again the place where enriched uranium will be produced when America needs it the most. With Project Act, America will stop. No, with Project Act America, but with Project Act, Oak Ridge will stop America's reliance on Russia and China, as you said, Mayor Couch, for the import of enriched uranium. With Project Act, Oak Ridge will fuel the deployment of new reactors, whether they are large, small, micro, or advanced. With Project Act, Oak Ridge will power not just reactors, but the future. The future of our daily lives, the future of our economy, the future of America and the world. Thank you for welcoming us.
Okay, that's Orano. Now let's take a look at BWXT. It's located out at the Horizon Center, very near to the TRISO-X as well. They built that building very rapidly. It's amazing how fast they were able to construct that building. You can notice they built it with large prefabricated concrete slabs and just sort of laid that thing up in a very short order.
New tonight, the nuclear industry in Oak Ridge is expanding in an effort to enrich more uranium in the United States. BWXT announced this week it will build a $45 million facility in the Secret City. 10 News Anderson County reporter Emily Crabtree spoke with leaders in the city and in the state about those plans.
We need to start doing more domestic enrichment for nuclear and our capabilities there. So having this operation is just adds another jewel to our crown here in Tennessee.
The nuclear industry in Oak Ridge has seen a lot of growth in recent months. Now, a familiar face is bringing their facilities to the area.
BWXT was crucial for the Manhattan Project back in really when Oak Ridge was established. So it's really cool to see a nice circular nature here of them coming full circle and establishing this presence in Oak Ridge.
The company plans to build its facility in phases with the ultimate goal of recycling and enriching uranium.
BWXT will be constructing a facility to build centrifuges here. And it's really exciting because it's part of the whole ecosystem that we have that is based around our nuclear past and our nuclear future.
Oak Ridge wants to use these partnerships to push for more nuclear power, and the state is hoping to put the country back on top as one of the leading nuclear producers.
We cannot say enough about the state's commitment to nuclear, and we're going to be a leader not just in the United States, but in the world.
And that was Emily Crabtree reporting. BWXT says that new facility will bring 60 jobs to Oak Ridge. The company purchased around 96 acres to construct the building. BWXT plans to invest around $45 million to complete that project. Expanding in an effort.
Now let's change over and talk about Oklo. This is the scene when they were also at the Wilcox Interpretive Center and made the announcement that Oklo was coming. And again, they're going to be processing spent nuclear fuel and producing new fuel for reactors. This is what their artist rendering of their site looks like.
Oklo is deploying advanced fission powerhouses with the goal of providing clean, reliable, and affordable energy at scale. Existing nuclear plants already generate large amounts of clean electricity, but they only utilize about 5% of the energy in their fuel. The remaining 95% can be unlocked through recycling. If we were to recycle all the existing used nuclear fuel in the U.S., that energy content could power the country for over a century with near zero carbon emissions. Recycling used fuel not only minimizes radioactivity, but also reduces the volume of waste that needs disposal. It has the potential to lower energy costs significantly through enhanced fuel availability and efficiency. Fuel recycling technology has been developed and refined over the last several decades, and Oklo is planning to deploy a commercial-scale fuel recycling facility in the U.S. by the early 2030s. To recycle used fuel, the fuel is first transported from existing storage sites to an Oklo recycling facility. Then, it is disassembled and put into a salt bath. An electric current separates the uranium and the transuranic material from the unusable fission products. The fission products are collected from the salt and cast into a solid waste for safe storage. The uranium and transuranic material is collected and remanufactured into new fuel assemblies for use in Oklo's Aurora powerhouses. What was once nuclear waste will now transform how we generate clean, reliable, and affordable energy.
Gigawatts. Oklo announcing yesterday it's investing nearly $1.7 billion toward plans to open a first-of-its-kind nuclear waste recycling facility. The Tennessee site expected to begin production by the 2030s. Joining us now first on CNBC is Oklo CEO Jacob DeWitt. Jake, it's great to have you. This is very technical, so explain to us what this is.
It's exciting to me about nuclear technology because nuclear reactors really only use about 5% or so of the fuel that gets loaded in them in its time in a reactor. And the reason is because, you have to have a minimum amount of fuel to keep the reactor running. That means that used fuel that gets discharged from a reactor is actually 90 to 95% remaining unused fuel. And one of the really exciting things about what we've been at since the beginning of our company has been working on next generation reactors called fast reactors that can actually really efficiently recycle and access that remaining 90 to 95%. What that translates to is effectively taking today's waste inventories, which with recycling and fast reactors have the same amount of energy as about 1.2 to 1.3 trillion barrels of oil. It's insane, right? That's like close to global oil reserves. So massive opportunity to do this.
So the upshot is that we just get a lot more power, which we need?
We get more power, and the cool thing too is it can be done more cost effectively than using fresh fuel because the fuel is kind of already in a good spot to be able to reuse through recycling. So yeah, more power and cheaper, which is pretty top of mind for everybody today.
Are the other nuclear players doing this?
There are a few. This is one of the things that was kind of envisioned by those folks coming out of the Manhattan Project, right? Some of the great minds like Enrico Fermi and others saw this potential to better use fuel by recycling it, by closing the fuel cycle, as some people say. And the technology's progressed a lot since then and really kind of culminated in the U.S. to be commercially ready and viable in the 80s and 90s. And so we started partnering up with the national labs back a couple of years ago with the Department of Energy to start commercializing this. And we went through a site selection process and found a wonderful home to put this in East Tennessee. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be frankly a game changer for frankly, not just nuclear, but for energy as a whole. And yeah, there are other companies looking at this, which is exciting because the space is so big. When you talk about global oil reserves, that size of an energy market just in the U.S. alone, there's room for a couple people to be in it for sure.
I guess, so we've been following you and all this incremental news and all these big plans and these steps as you get into the reality of setting up these nuclear reactors. So talk us through the time frame of this combined with everything else that you're doing. I ask you this every time, but I guess that's the key question for investors and also for all of us that are waiting for this power.
Exactly. So, we're moving full speed ahead with getting our first plant built up in Idaho. We have fuel for that plant, which is great. We're one of the only companies that actually has fuel ready for a new build. And that's actually produced, by the way, from this kind of recycling technology, just at a smaller scale that was developed out there. So that's pretty cool. So that will power that first plant. What this recycling announcement is about is actually opening the door for fuel for follow-on plants. So that's one of the biggest bottlenecks to building a lot more power more quickly. So kind of turning waste not just into watts, but waste into gigawatts. This is a huge unlock to be able to do that. So the facility we're investing in here will be able to support several gigawatts of new power plants being built by us from fuel supplies, because that is the bottleneck, as well as taking a multi-pronged approach, working with the enrichers on that side of the equation, as well as some really cool things the United States government is doing to make excess legacy materials available to build more reactors sooner and bring them online faster. So, we're targeting that first plant in Idaho, producing power 2027. There's some recent actions, right, by the government to accelerate things. We're excited about what those are looking like. And we're hopeful that, those are going to lead, frankly, moving all of these timescales to the left, not just for the first plant, but for more plants after that.
Jacob, just looking at that map again, Idaho, I see Illinois, we're talking Tennessee. Are there running themes that go into site selection?
There are. It's interesting having run this process and talking to a number of states. There's been a lot of enthusiasm, not just about what we're doing here, but just around nuclear as a whole. But there are certain states that are definitely in a position to just lead and have more to bring to bear. And Tennessee is a perfect example of this. Oak Ridge National Lab here is a kind of a stalwart place. I'm actually at, Rome State Community College talking to you guys today on the heel of the announcement yesterday. The workforce, the ecosystem that's here, that's being developed here, is why us, as well as others, have sort of planted roots to build out infrastructure. It's a very attractive state to do this in. But at the end of the day, what we're building is something that's nationwide, and at the end of the day, even bigger than that. And so, it's a great place to start building infrastructure in these states, but we see opportunities in a number of places that span outward. But there are definitely early adopting states that are just going to move faster, like Idaho, like Tennessee, like Ohio. Some of those.
Okay, now let's talk about LIS Technologies. This is a laser technology that will be used for separating uranium. And it is in the Heritage Center, actually on Duck Island in the Heritage Center. And I find an interesting comment down in the last paragraph there that talks about the co-founder of Jeff Erkins, who's 93. He developed the technology and is a strong advocate for nuclear power. And then it goes on to talk about him demonstrating his device in the early 90s. And he's known as the father of laser enrichment. His company biography said he was sent to an Indonesian Japanese prison camp for 3 years when he was just 10 years old. He went back to Holland for his high school diploma and headed to America. He went to UC Berkeley in 1950 to study aeronautical engineering, but changed his major to nuclear engineering once President Eisenhower declassified nuclear reactor physics in 1953. The company biography said that's when that happened. And it was then when Erkin realized the atomic bomb saved his life. So he was in that prison camp at the end of World War II. Now let's listen to some comments from LIS Technologies.
There is so much energy and momentum around what's happening here. Let's go around the world and make sure everyone knows why this is the place that you ought to invest. And now, today's announcement of LIS Technologies, a Tennessee-based company, has made the decision to invest $1.3 billion and create 200 new jobs on the historic K25 enrichment site right here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Everybody knows why this is really important, and for Tennessee to play a role in this, not just for this community of the state, but really for our country, I think is meaningful for all of us. Just recently, Nuclear Newswire just ranked the top 10 states in the country for nuclear. No surprise probably to anybody in this room that we were #1.
I am a Tennessee kid, born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee. I grew up here in East Tennessee, shaped by this community, this region, and its deep connection to science, to innovation, and to service to our great nation. The support that was offered by Tennessee exceeded far beyond what any other state that we were considering could offer us by more than 5 times. It clearly set Tennessee apart as the right partner for LIST, and it was the right home for our commercial future.
I call it the Silicon Valley of nuclear. That's what I call Tennessee, and especially Oak Ridge. I always say, all these companies are building Ferraris, but there's no gas. And LIS Technologies will be that gas that powers the future.
You could have chosen anywhere in the country. We know that. You chose the great state of Tennessee, and you chose Oak Ridge. Thank you for choosing Tennessee. We will not let you down. America needs energy dominance. America needs nuclear dominance. The great state of Tennessee will deliver that.
What this is really about for our people is what is coming here in jobs and investment is truly a transformational opportunity to change lives for our people. Those who struggle, those who need help, those who need the jobs. What this means to our community that you are playing a part of, Christo and Jay, is going to change this place forever, and I cannot thank you enough for that. We stand ready to do everything we can to help you be successful.
In May of 2024, with an invitation from the Commissioner Stuart McWhorter, who invited us to the Capitol. It was my first ever visit to the state of Tennessee. And in that executive conference room, we were warmly welcomed to the state by the Commissioner and his staff. The message that day was clear. Tennessee wanted us here. And I walked away that day fired up and convinced that LIS Technologies belong in this state.
Now, this is a somewhat of a summary that talks about the nuclear renaissance, transforming former Cold War sites into a modern nuclear hub, often called the Silicon Valley of nuclear. As early as 2026, multiple projects, including uranium enrichment facilities, microreactor factories, and fuel recycling initiatives, have committed to investing in the area. And here's the key economic development investment that we're talking about, the total investment. Recent reports estimate that nuclear companies are bringing roughly 6.7 to 12 billion, and I've seen estimates that go even beyond the 12 billion in new investment to the Oak Ridge region over the next few years. Orano, with its Project Ike, company is developing a multi-billion-dollar large-scale uranium enrichment facility, likely the largest investment in the state's history. And LIS Technologies that we just learned about, announced a $1 billion investment to build a laser uranium enrichment facility at the K-25 site on Duck Island. Centrus Energy Corporation invested over $560 million to expand its centrifuge manufacturing plant. Oklo, a $1.68 billion project centered on a first-of-its-kind fuel recycling facility and a potential micro-reactor campus. Radiant Industries, a $280 million investment for a factory that will produce portable nuclear micro-reactors. And jobs. How many jobs are we going to have? They're expected to generate thousands of jobs. If you heard what they were talking about at TRISO-X, the first round will produce, I believe you said 300 jobs, but the second one is going to produce over 1,000. And Project Light with Orano's over 300 jobs and an estimated 1,000+ jobs during the initial 5-year construction phase. Centrus Energy, 430 new jobs. Oklo, more than 800 new jobs. LIS Technology, 200 jobs. And Radiant Industry, 175 new jobs. And what's driving this? What's bringing it about? Of course, the land availability by the Department of Energy and infrastructure support. The state of Tennessee is supporting it, and they have a dedicated nuclear energy fund. I think they're adding more to it. It was over 60 million at the last time I heard about it, but I think more is coming. Workforce development, local colleges, including Roane State Community College, are establishing nuclear technology programs to train workers for these new roles. I'm glad that I'm being asked by Roane State to introduce these new nuclear technology programs by giving a presentation the first morning on the history of Oak Ridge. And I've also been asked by University of Tennessee to do the same thing for programs that they have. Investments have been announced. Construction is starting through 2026. Most companies aiming for operations before 2030. So that's what we're looking at. Remind you again of where they're located, all the way from the far east end where we've got the fusion energy, type 1 energy, and then Centrus, and then on the west end, the whole grouping of them at the K-25 Heritage Center and Horizon Center, as well as across the road from the site, and TVA, of course, and the Clinch River Nuclear Site. Again, this gives you the locations a little bit better than what we had on the other map. First Nuclear Innovation Hub is what's considered out at the west end of Oak Ridge. I want to tell you about a sale that's coming. Oak Ridge is the center for the birth of the nuclear navy. And this is the top portion of the submarine, the USS Houston. And it will be brought here later this year. We hope to put up some statues of Alvin Weinberg and Admiral Rickover. And those are going to be created by the Wildcat Manufacturing at the Oak Ridge High School. There'll be 3D printed statues that can go outside. This is the location that we hope to have it in Bissell Park, which is very near. Its location is close to Tulane Avenue and very near to the Secret City Commemorative Walk. Well, this is the way I end my presentation, with questions and interaction with the audience that I hope has enjoyed learning about the future of Oak Ridge. Okay, I hope that was helpful to give you a glimpse into some of the things that are happening in Oak Ridge that are moving us forward and taking us into the future. Oak Ridge really is going to be the hub for the nuclear activities. Again, as some of them mentioned, not just for the community, the state, the nation, but even will have impact for the world. And think about it, if only half of what we think might happen happens, which I believe more of it than that will happen, but it's going to be bigger, in my opinion, than the Manhattan Project 1. This will be the Manhattan Project 2.0, as Secretary Chris Wright challenged us to create. And I think it's exciting times for Oak Ridge and the new companies that are coming into town. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Hidden History, Stories from the Secret City.